What's going on, guys? So in recent days, news has come out about the Shazam movie and how it's going to be split into two films, with one being a solo Black Adam movie. And a lot of people think this is a good idea. They think it's a bad idea. They're freaking DC's just doing it to, cash in on The Rock's popularity at the moment. And right now, I think all of those things are true. I will be 100% honest, when I heard this news, I was like, completely unnecessary. Why the hell would you even think about making a Black Adam movie? Because he was already going to be in Shazam. Was he going to be in both movies? I don't know. It was just very, caught me off guard. And, a lot of people have made some solid points. They were like, well, it kind of makes sense because Black Adam actually got his powers before Shazam, so you could easily make a Black Adam movie first and then bring in Shazam later. Each of them have, big stories. One's an anti-hero, so you can make some good stuff. Shazam's actually whole history is pretty confusing, so you can use the whole movie just to talk about that. So everybody has made some solid points about why it should be split into two movies. And so I kind of want to go ahead and talk about the good, the bad, and maybe the awesome that could come out of, splitting out the freaking, splitting these movies into two. Sorry, my brain is all over the place right now, but when isn't it really? You know what I'm saying? Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the bad first, okay? So, like I said, a lot of people feel that DC is just trying to cash in on The Rock's popularity right now, because The Rock is 2016 was his year. He fucking owned it. He's got some amazing movies coming out in 2017. Dude is just killing it, and looks like he's gonna be killing it for years. So DC's all like, we need a big superstar to come in and save the DC franchise. The Rock is very charismatic. Hell, I loved him in the WWE when I was growing up. Back then it was the WWF, if you kids don't know. But legal shit. Anyways, so I'm a big fan of The Rock. Always love the dude. Dude seems really positive. Dude's a hard worker, and he's very charismatic, and he's a solid actor. And I think he'll be awesome in a superhero movie. So I think DC, they are a business, so they're like, fuck yeah, let's cash in and make bajillions of dollars with The Rock, so let's give him his own movie. And of course, The Rock being The Rock, he's all like, yeah, bitch, I want my own movie before I rock bottom your ass, Jeff Johns. Give me my own movie, son. Because the Shazam movie has been announced for 2 years, and the only person attached to it has been The Rock. The Shazam movies don't even have a Shazam yet, and you need to cast two people, because you need to cast Shazam, and you need to cast Billy Batson, which is the shorter, kid version of Shazam. So you freaking need to do that. And they don't have any of that, although they should pick freaking, what's his name, Thieler. His name's Thieler. Derek Thieler or some shit like that. I don't know, I forget. He's in that show, Baby Mama, and they should just get the kid from Stranger Things, because I think those would be awesome for people to be Shazam and the kid, Billy Batson. Let's go ahead and get back on track here, because we're getting a little sidetracked, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, the reason why I think this is a bad move is because for 2 years, we thought we were going to get a Shazam versus Black Adam movie, and we're going to be like, oh! And we thought that was going to be really badass. But reports now from Birth Movie Die, or Birth Movie Death, they have a report saying that Black Adam will not appear as the villain in Shazam, although he could appear in a sequel. What? So the Shazam movie is not gonna have Black Adam at all, according to Birth Movie Death. So it's just well, and there's conflicting reports, because some people are saying he will be in the movie, he won't be in the movie. But if he's gonna get his own solo movie, why would he also be in the Shazam movie as well? That's kind of overkill, you know what I mean? Because when you really think about it, they would have to fight in the Shazam, they'd have to have a huge fight in the Shazam movie, and then they would have to have a huge fight in the freaking Black Adam movie. You're basically just taking two different movies and giving a different perspective from each villain, you know what I mean? Or each, not villain, but each person. And I don't think that's good. I mean, although I would love to see movies with them in them all the time, I don't want to see the same fights over and over. I want to see different people fight different, villains and heroes and stuff like that. So that is kind of the bad. So for 2 years, we thought it was going to be Shazam versus Black Adam, and apparently that's not going to be the case anymore. And also, like I said, I don't know if I mentioned it, but with DC cashing in on The Rock's popularity, it just seems like they are just doing that, and possibly they might rush this film to try to actually, cash in on it, like I said. And that's one thing we do not want out of these movies, because we've seen that happen twice with DC already, although I had no problem with Batman v Superman, although I don't think that movie was rushed. It's just, you know, Zack Snyder didn't get to do it the way he wanted to. He had to cut stuff out. Anyways, Suicide Squad was hella rushed, and we know that for a fact, and I don't want a Black Adam movie rushed just to cash in on The Rock's popularity at the moment. So those are really the bad things right now. We're not going to see Shazam versus Black Adam apparently until maybe the third movie? I don't know, because what would be considered a sequel for Shazam? Because so I don't think Black Adam's gonna get 3 separate trilogy movies by himself. I mean, it's possible, but that would be insane for him to get 3 different movies. But then again, he's The Rock, so he probably could. So I don't know. So I'm thinking that, because with, you know, like I said, Birth, Movie, Death says that he might be in a potential sequel. So a Shazam sequel, so we're going to get the origin story of Shazam in the first movie, then Black Adam in the second movie, but there's also going to be a Black Adam solo movie. So it's technically the third movie in that universe. So we wouldn't get a Black Adam Shazam fight until the third movie, and I'm just kind of like, that kind of sucks. So those are the reasons why I think this move sucks. Feel like it's kind of unnecessary. I see why they're doing it, but let's go ahead and talk about the good. The most obvious thing is you're giving The Rock his own damn movie. That means The Rock is gonna be happy. If you smell what he's cooking, because, you know, he cooks very well apparently, and he eats very well because he's a big man and he does things. So you're giving The Rock his own movie, meaning you're making him very, very happy, and he's gonna want to probably do way more movies in the future. So he could be in a Justice League, he could be in multiple Shazams, he could be in multiple Black Adams, like he could just cross over with other things. So DC could more than likely sign him to a big contract, much like Marvel does, signing, you know, Captain America, Spider-Man, Iron Man to big, massive contracts, and they will have those big names, much like Marvel does. So, you know, keeping The Rock happy is a good thing. So that is a good thing about giving him a solo movie. And like some of you guys have said, or people on the internet have said, Black Adam did come first. He was the original Shazam, but, you know, he went bad, and that's what the Wizard talks about when he gives Billy Batson his powers. You could actually bring in the Black Adam storyline first, although I feel like people would get kind of confused if you did it that way, because then you're like, well, who's the hero? Like, is he a hero or not? And I feel like a lot of people do consider Black Adam an anti-hero, much like a lot of people do consider the same thing with, you know, Red Hood. But, you know, freaking Black Adam has killed like thousands of people, and he's like a dictator in his country or whatever. So, you know, kind of, you know, a little different. But a lot of people do consider him an anti-hero, and he himself believes he's a hero and that he's not a villain. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they could do, and that's a good acting experience. It's a good type of way to see a character grow, and that would be really awesome development. So yes, you could easily make a Black Adam movie. He could, you know, I don't know. See, this is another reason why I think it might be bad, is if they both get their powers from, like, you know, the Wizard or whatever, it's gonna be the same fucking story. It's just one's gonna be bad and one's gonna be good. And I feel like you could have done both of those storylines in one movie, and you could have shown all of Black Adam's storyline, like the way he got his powers and how he became bad and everything, in like the first 10 minutes of a movie. Like, seriously, you can make just an awesome intro of how he got his powers, talk about, like, it could be a narration of him just doing all this crazy stuff, and then bada bing bada boom, you talk about how he's been bad and now he's a dictator of some country. And then the Wizard finds, you know, Billy Batson, and we do the whole story about Billy Batson and how he got his powers, and, you know, losing his parents, going into the foster homes. So, you know, I feel like you know, there's good and bad about this whole situation. But I think if they are going to do a Black Adam movie, it's going to center around him becoming the bad guy and thinking how, like, you know, he had, you know, he was a slave, I believe, was the whole storyline. I don't know too much about his backstory, but I believe he was a slave, and then he's just wanting to, like, regain the country. He doesn't want anybody else to be like that, but he thinks by being so brutal and, like, being a dictator the way he is like, you know, freaking the best thing he could do to save people. So, you know, he, like, again, he doesn't think he's a bad guy. So I don't know, I'm really conflicted about this, but let's get away from Black Adam and talk about Shazam real quick, because I have something really, the awesome part does involve Black Adam. So the a good thing about them splitting up the movies is I think a lot of people would get confused with this storyline, because a lot of people would be like, well, how the hell? It depends on what they're gonna do. Are they only gonna have Billy Batson, or are they gonna have the Marvel family? And are they gonna call them the Marvel family? Because if you notice, like if you read, depending if they're gonna go off the New 52 version or the older ones, you know, Billy Batson lives in he has a foster home, and he has siblings that are also adopted, and they all become or they all get powers, or they all like go into one and become Shazam if you're doing the Flashpoint Marvel family, which I don't think they'll do that one. If anything, they would have all the kids have their own actual powers, which I'm kind of hoping they do that storyline opposed to just Billy Batson by himself, because there's like other storylines out there that if they were gonna make this a trilogy and Black Adam have his own trilogy or whatever they were gonna do, if there's gonna be a shitload of movies in just this universe, go with the family. Because I know there are storylines where like the girls actually go bad and do shit like that, and they, you know, I don't know, so I don't know too much about that. I remember reading an issue of Shazam where the girls are bad, or one of the girls like betrays them, and that makes a really good storyline. And if you could do that in a movie, that would be pretty badass. You know, trying to bring her back to the good side. Maybe Black Adam's trying to corrupt her to join him. That would be pretty badass. So I think they should go with the Marvel family. And if you are splitting up these, you know, movies, then go ahead and do that. Do the Marvel family instead of just Billy Batson by himself showing his parents die or whatever. And then shut up, phone! Sorry about that. I just had to, you know, he kept going off and I had to tell him something. But anyways, so that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that's the good benefit of splitting up these movies. You don't have to just focus on Billy Batson and Black Adam, because those are big two storylines you're gonna have to do. But this way you can actually just concentrate on the Marvel storyline, talk about how they all get their powers, kind of develop each of the kids in a movie, and then just have some kind of villain for them to fight at the end. It doesn't necessarily need to be Black Adam. He could come in later. But I think it would be pretty awesome to actually see all of the kids actually become superheroes, and then each of them has their own dilemmas to go with, or, you know, do their own things to make their city better or whatever. So that is what I think are the positives from this, you know. The positives are you can develop each storyline and each character a lot better in their own movies instead of trying to force them both of their storylines into one movie. Also, by splitting up the movies, you're giving The Rock his own movie to shine in, opposed to having to be a supporting actor. With his amount of fame, he's gonna want to be the star in the movie, so you go ahead and you give him his own solo flick, which, you know, I'm cool with it now, but, you know, as long as it's good. And I am hoping that with the Black Adam movie, they're going to show him take over, you know, his country, and that is going to be the biggest thing. Like, I want to see him destroying that country and taking it over, and then becoming villainous. But with that idea right there that you are hearing about him taking over a country, I am going to bring in the possible awesome that could be coming with this announcement, and that is, could we be getting freaking Black Adam versus Superman? And the reason why I want to bring that into it is because apparently The Rock has always said he wants to, like, yeah, I want to fight Superman in a Justice League movie or something like that. He's talked about that before, and I'm pretty sure he made that very well known that he wants to fight Superman at some point in one of these movies, and DC was like, we kind of want to see you fight Superman too. Because remember, Superman is weak against magic, and fucking Black Adam is a strong motherfucker that has magic. So they could go toe-to-toe, and each of them would have an advantage and a disadvantage. And that is a fucking fight I want to see. And yes, they have fought before, I believe in an animated short, and I believe they fought in a comic before too. And they just kick each other's ass. And I think that is something that could happen in a Black Adam movie if it comes in after a Shazam movie. I think Shazam might need to be introduced first, or it might actually make more sense to have Black Adam first and have him fight Superman, and then maybe Shazam shows up at the end of that one, introducing his movie later. I don't know. I'm still kind of thinking about that, but I think what could happen with Black Adam taking over a country, other countries are going to be like, we can't do anything against this guy, and Superman is going to just fly over there and be like, I'll take care of this, and bada bing bada boom, he freaking goes and tries to fight Black Adam. That would be the perfect way to have them, like, fight each other, instead of, like, wasting a Justice League movie on it. Because if you're going to have him fight in a Justice League movie, he's gonna have to join up with a bunch of other villains, and that's gonna kind of have to be one of those Justice League movies. But if it's a Black Adam movie, you could have Superman cameo in it as a supporting actor, especially if you're not gonna have Shazam. Superman could be watching him and being like, we gotta keep an eye on this guy, and then he'd be like, I'm gonna end this now, and blah, blah. And he goes and he's gonna think about saving the people, because they need to be free, blah, blah. Black Adam's gonna be like, no, it's the only way I can save them, and they're gonna fight. And there's a little bit of evidence here, because if you remember, I don't know if it was I think it was last year, sometime last year, like in November or December, freaking The Rock and Superman, Henry Cavill, were hanging out together and having drinks and shit. So they were probably talking about how they could make an awesome movie. Another thing is they freaking share the same agent, and that agent, or I think it's publicist or something like that, the publicist was saying how they want to make Henry Cavill as popular and as big as The Rock. So they're working on that. So how bigger, you know, how could you make that happen? You make him be in a damn movie with The Rock. So, and they're both superheroes, and you just fight them, and fucking, that is how you make Henry Cavill become even more of a star. You have him fight the fucking Rock, and like, it would just be a superpower beatdown. And that is something I think might happen, and I would not be surprised if they're like, yes, Black Adam is getting his own movie, and you know, he will be going up against freaking Henry Cavill. Just imagine the freaking promos and posters and all that shit you can make about that it's gonna be the freaking Man of Steel versus Black Adam. Like, that is something I think people would go watch. It would be a huge fight. Superman, but you know, you don't want to focus too much on Superman, so you know, don't make it like BVS, you know, and kind of just have him there for a little bit. I don't know, it's gonna be a big balance, because Superman's huge. You can't just have him not be there for like, you can't have him just be there for like 10 minutes. You gotta make a good script, but I think that would be a solid freaking movie, is having Shazam fight them. Or fuck it, have Shazam and Superman fight Black Adam. That would be perfect. Superman tries to come in, like I said, I mentioned it earlier, have Shazam show up later. There's a fucking photo like this of them all fighting anyways. Make it happen. Just do it. I don't care. I don't care. Anyways, I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think about it. Do you think this is a good idea? Let me know what you think about all this. You know, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with all your buddies. Don't forget, we got merch going on. If you guys want to grab yourself a Justice League shirt, you got until tomorrow. I think there's like 24 or 36 hours left in the thing. I'm not too sure, but make sure you grab one of those shirts if you want the first batch, you know, to show up at your doorstep. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for all things nerdy and geeky on this channel. As always, guys, I'm your host, JUICEbox. Remember, when you wake up in the morning, ask yourself something. If I'm a daily dose of juice, see you guys next time. Bye!